20 years is a lifetime, isn't it? It's enough time for a seed to become a forest, for a child to become a man, and for a simple act of kindness to turn into a debt that even a kingdom cannot fully repay. This is the story of Dewey Astuti, a woman whose life was defined not by wealth or status, but by a heart that didn't know how to turn away from a soul in need. 2 decades ago, in a world far removed from the golden gates of the capital, Dewey was just a commoner, living a quiet life. One evening, amidst the shadows of a harsh winter, she stumbled upon a small, shivering child. He was lost, hungry, and terrified, with no crown on his head and no guards by his side. To Dewey, he wasn't a prince or a future ruler. He was just a boy who needed a mother. She took him in, shared her humble meals, and wrapped him in the warmth of her only blanket. She didn't ask for his name or his lineage. She simply gave him the one thing he had never truly known in the cold corridors of power: genuine, selfless love. That boy, as fate would have it, was the hidden heir to the empire. A young emperor who had been cast out by a coup. When he was finally rescued and restored to his throne, he didn't forget the woman who saved him. In a decree that shocked the nation, he named Dewey Astuti his official foster mother, the mother of the empire. But politics is a cruel game. To protect her from the vipers at court, he had to leave her in the safety of the countryside, promising that one day, when his seat was secure, he would come back to bring her home. Now, 20 years have passed. The young boy is now a formidable emperor, a man whose shadow looms large over the continent. But despite his power, there is a void in his heart that only one person can fill. The time has finally come. The emperor decides it's time to fulfill his promise. He wants to bring Dewey back to the palace, to give her the life of royalty she deserves. But life has a way of complicating even the best laid plans. As the imperial carriage wins its way toward the humble village where it all began, the world has changed. Dewey is no longer the young woman she once was. Time has etched lines of wisdom on her face, and her roots are buried deep in the soil of the village she calls home. The emperor arrives not with a small party, but with a procession that stretches for miles, shimmering in gold and silk. The villagers watch in awe, unable to believe that the crazy old woman who spent years talking about her son in the city was actually telling the truth. But when the emperor finally stands before Dewey, the reunion isn't exactly what he expected. He sees her through the eyes of a son, but she sees him through the eyes of a mother who knows that a golden cage is still a cage. He offers her the world, the finest silks, 1,000 servants, and a palace that touches the clouds. He tells her that no one will ever look down on her again. Yet, as he speaks, he notices the hesitation in her eyes. You see, Dewey has built a life here. She has neighbors who rely on her, children she has taught, and a peace that the capital can never provide. The emperor's quest to rescue her starts to feel more like an uprooting. The drama intensifies as the court officials, who see Dewey as a threat to the imperial bloodline's purity, begin to plot against this reunion. They don't want a commoner sitting on the throne of the Queen Mother. They see her as a weakness, a target for the emperor's enemies. While the emperor is fighting to bring his mother home, Dewey is fighting a different battle, a battle of identity. Does she belong in a world of protocol and poison, or does she belong where her heart has beat for 60 years? As the story unfolds, we see the emperor's desperation. He tries to force the issue, thinking that his power can fix everything. He orders the palace to be renovated, he prepares the most lavish banquet in history, and he even punishes those who dare to whisper against her. But the more he pushes, the further Dewey seems to drift. She realizes that her son has become a man of iron and decree, and she fears that by going with him, she might lose the very boy she once saved. The narrative takes a heart-wrenching turn when an assassination attempt is made on the road back to the capital. In that moment of chaos, the roles are reversed once again. Even after 20 years, when the arrows fly and the swords are drawn, Dewey doesn't see an emperor. She sees her little boy. She shields him, proving that a mother's instinct is more powerful than any imperial guard. The tension reaches a breaking point when they reach the palace gates. The emperor stands at the threshold, holding out his hand, pleading for her to step into his world. It's a moment of pure, cinematic gravity. Will she step into the light of the empire and accept her destiny as the mother of the nation, or will she turn back to the simplicity of the mountains? This isn't just a story about a king and a commoner. It's a deep dive into the meaning of home. Is home a place of gold, or is it where your soul feels at rest? The emperor eventually realizes that his mother's love is on something he can command or display like a trophy. He learns that to truly honor her, he must respect her will, even if it means letting her go. In the end, the journey of the emperor to fetch Studi becomes a journey of self-discovery for both. It's a beautiful, bittersweet reminder that some debts are so large they can only be paid with freedom. The emperor might be the ruler of all he surveys, but in the presence of the woman who gave him life when he had nothing, he's reminded that the greatest power on earth is unterkrunit, the unconditional love of a mother. Whether she stays in the palace or returns to her village, the bond they shared 20 years ago remains the one thing that no emperor can ever change and no time can ever erase. It's a story that stays with you, making you wonder what you would choose if the world was offered to you at the cost of your peace.